My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh. My life be like, yeah, ooh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Irrelevant Life. I'm your host, Ella Jonah, and today I'm joined with my roommate, Marissa Diiulio.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Marissa. How you doing? What's up?
Good. The weather's getting nicer. Energy's starting to come back. So
Yeah.
senioritis is hitting full swing.
Hard. I don't want to do anything. But Marissa and I have known each other since freshman year. We met online for recruitment.
Literally within the first 2 weeks of school.
Yeah.
Just because our last names are close together.
Literally. They line you up outside the doors here. And so we were sitting next to each other, I guess. And then
for
we were
the entirety of the weekend.
Yeah, and we were together in every single room. We had the same last two rooms to go to together. So we were together for a majority of recruitment. And that's how we met. And then we ended up in the same sorority. So then it was
yeah, then we ended up just spending all our time together because
yeah.
First it was just a friend in the recruitment process, and then it just turned into we were both going to sorority events together as new members. At one point we thought we were going to be twins in a fam line, but that didn't happen.
That was true. That's a true story. So yeah, that's how we met. And then last year, our junior year, Marissa studied abroad for spring.
Yeah, I went to Dingle, Ireland from the end of January to the beginning of May. So my full spring semester of my junior year.
Which is a really long time.
For me, who's an extreme homebody and has severe attachment issues to her mother, it was a long time. But I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was because I thought a semester didn't sound that long, but then a whole semester passed and I was like, damn, Marissa's been gone for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot happens in a semester.
Not so much as FOMO because we didn't see a lot of videos of you guys, but coming home and you guys telling all these stories about crazy stuff that happened, I was like, man, I kind of missed a lot.
I know. I was actually going to ask you, when you were away, did you feel like you missed being on campus, or did you I guess more you missed us than the campus, but how did you feel about going away, all that?
It was harder in the beginning because you guys went back to school a week before we even left for Europe. So then I was kind of sitting home while everybody was coming back for the initial silly week. But then we were on a plane, dropped in the middle of Ireland. And for anybody who doesn't know, Dingle's on the west coast, the westernmost point of Ireland. And it is the smallest town I'd ever. There's maybe 4 streets. You walk everywhere and everybody knows everyone.
That's kind of how it was when I went abroad, because I went in high school, my junior year, to on a mission trip to Lourdes, France. And Lourdes is in the south of France, and normally it's very I don't know, there's a lot of places around Lourdes that are super vibrant and lively. Lourdes is a religious little town.
Don't get me wrong, Dingle is very lively, but that doesn't start to happen until March. When we first got there, because it's it's a tourist town and it's all small businesses that thrive off of the people that come and visit. They kind of, once New Year's hits, the town kind of just shuts down. It's kind of a hiatus because
it's cold.
Their summer is so busy. But once we got back from spring break in March, every single store was open. Plus, it was St. Patrick's Day. So the town was swarming with people.
That's nice.
But the town itself, even without the tourists, was really vibrant. Each building had its own it was painted its own color scheme. So you'd have a green building next to a blue building next to an orange building. It wasn't just drab
all one
Connecticut thing in the winter where everything's gray. All the trees are green and then all the buildings are different colors. So it was very, very vibrant as a town. But the people there also, even when it wasn't tourist season, still they take so much pride in their small little fishing town. The amount of people that are now studying abroad in Dingle because of us coming home and sharing our experiences is triple the amount than when I went.
Yeah, I definitely, even now, this semester, there are so many people abroad right now.
I think there's 63.
That's crazy. And I know before COVID, there was a lot of people, and then it kind of they stopped abroad. Were you the first trip after COVID?
Yeah. In 2019, there were people abroad when we got sent home in March, and they got sent home. from
Right.
Dingle and Italy and wherever else they were. So they really couldn't pick up study abroad because Europe's rules were much stricter than ours until our junior year. And I was like, even up until like we were getting on the plane, it was still like, we're not sure if we're going. We're not sure how long we're going to be there. It was kind of just like hoping for the best.
Right.
And luckily, a week after we got there, Europe lifted all their restrictions, like no masks, no tests. They were very particular about like, even if you are feeling sick, don't test,
Right.
which was like Europe's kind of thing. And so luckily, I got to stay the whole time. There was
That's
very
nice.
limited restrictions. I got to travel. But for a long time leading up to it, it was very much like, if you go, this is what your experience, but like, don't get your hopes up.
Right. I think that also because like they hyped up study abroad so much, like before we were even in college, like a big aspect of like college tours and stuff, they always mention like the Shoe Dingle program. So Dingle Ireland's like where Marissa went. It's a satellite campus for Sacred Heart, which basically means that like it's Sacred Heart classes there and it's like Sacred Heart run. It's just in a different country, which makes it a lot easier to go abroad.
Yeah, it's definitely like pretty much an extension of the Fairfield campus in Ireland. And because you go through Sacred Heart there, you get to take the Sacred Heart classes that they offer. You're allowed to take 2 online classes from the Fairfield campus. So like a lot of people who like Ireland may not offer classes for their major, they take 1 or 2 online classes for their major and then take all the fun classes while there, because sitting in class in Ireland is very different than sitting in class here.
Here it's very like you go to a class, you go home, you go to your next class, maybe you're home for like the whole day, you have a lot of free time. Like what's that like in Ireland? Are you in classes all day? Is it more like a high school kind of schedule? Are you all in classes together? Because obviously like you go with a group, like how is that with classes and stuff?
So there was about 54 of us, and around 30 of them were nursing majors. So a lot of them stuck together, and they had like their course schedule is more strict than ours because they have to maintain that like
Right.
nursing status and the studying. But me and a few other people who weren't nursing majors, we pretty much got to pick whatever classes. Like my majors are criminal justice and psychology. So they didn't have any of those classes offered for me there. But I kind of like front loaded them heavy so that when I went abroad, I could just take whatever I wanted. And I ended up picking up a minor in film so that I could take like the field production classes and stuff. We got cameras. But a day to day, like once we got into our schedule, once we moved there was only 2 classrooms in Dingle on opposite ends of the town. We had a lot of freedom to pretty much do what we wanted as long as we attended class. And a lot of the classes, especially once March hit and the weather was like skyrocketed, it was so nice. We were rarely in the classrooms because for my coastal ecology class, she'd be like, let's meet at the beach today. And we'd study the starfish and the seals. Or for religion, instead of sitting here in Fairfield for 3 hours listening to a lecture,
Right.
we went out to, like, my teacher was like, we're going to this random guy's backyard to check out this tomb where the fairies used to live. There was it was very, very hands-on.
But that's like really fun. I think that's like kind of the point of going abroad because you're getting like hands-on experience and you're getting like that experience of being in a different culture. Because a lot of people get out of college and the one thing they regret is not studying abroad. And I know that that's something like I'll probably regret. I already feel like I will.
I was like, maybe I'll go sophomore year, but then COVID really messed that up. And then second semester junior, I was like, this is my only chance. If I don't go, I can't go my senior year.
Right, because
Like-
also you don't want to go your senior year.
Yeah, like I could have gone in the fall, but then everything would have just been messed up. And I knew that spring was nicer in Ireland, essentially,
Right.
because you're going from not as busy to tour season instead of the opposite where things are shutting down.
I didn't have the plan to study abroad because of the sorority and the executive board and all that, so I couldn't study abroad. And I looked at the smaller sessions. So like Marissa went for a whole semester. That's like a really long time. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot when you're not abroad, but when you do go away for that period of time, like you are missing a big chunk of like campus time. And for some people it's totally worth it. Like you obviously had an amazing time, it's totally worth it. But if you go and then you're like homesick or maybe studying abroad was something you were really, really unsure about, it could be hit or miss. Like we have smaller sessions. There's a winter session for 2 weeks and a summer
Yeah,
like
like
ish
in May.
session. Yeah, it's basically spring. But like you have like a 2 week then. And those weeks are really popular.
Yeah, the only thing about those compared to this semester is that you're only there for 2 weeks and you're taking a 3 credit course in 2 weeks.
Right.
So people don't really understand that you're in class for 8 hours a day. Whereas I was in class for an hour and a half and then was like, let me go see the aquarium. Because there's an aquarium there and we got free access as students. But they're in class and they do try and incorporate field trips and whatever, but you're not living there.
It's just a very different experience. Like, you're not on vacation. You're really living there. Like, you're immersing yourself into like the culture of the place you pick.
Yeah, like if you think about like your day-to-day life in America and like you have to go to the grocery store and whatnot, but you know what to expect. You have a car, you have public transportation. In Dingle, there's 3 grocery stores. Most people don't drive because it's so small and we had no transportation. So if it was raining, we were walking the 10 minutes to class.
Right.
But everybody walks. When I needed to make dinner, I had to go to the grocery store and then make dinner in my house. Like it was like we weren't in a hotel. Like, yes, we were able to eat in the restaurants and the cafes and stuff because of our dining plan that was like through Sacred Heart. But I felt like I was like living a separate life. And then coming home, I was like, this is like weird. It was definitely weird
The
coming
transition
home.
is like wild.
I think the culture shock was worse coming home than it was going there. There was no like language barrier, which was awesome. Like Italy and stuff, like you have to know Italian. Like going there, the only culture shock was that everybody was much nicer.
I like that. I think that like it's just more like you said, very friendly, and like it feels more like community driven over there. I think that like around here everyone is just like in their own world. Like everyone is just like
it's weird. Like if you go and try and talk to a stranger in like a bar or a restaurant, like they look at you funny, like why are you like
Right.
inserting yourself into my life? Whereas if you don't talk to the locals in Ireland, they think that you're like not rude, but like
don't
they want to share their stories.
That's crazy. I feel like that's like so abnormal for here. I know that like the study abroad was in Dingle, but one of like the perks of going abroad, I think pretty much anywhere in Europe specifically, if you go abroad in Europe, you can pretty much travel anywhere.
One thing that they do warn you about Ireland is that it is an island, so you can't really take a train anywhere. Like if you study abroad in Italy or France, you could take the train or a bus to another country and be there in like 3 hours. Whereas for us, Dingle was an hour away from the closest airport, and that airport only flew to London or Dublin. Like you take advantage of it, but everybody's always like, when I study abroad, I'm going to go away every weekend. I'm going to never be in my host town. Like I'm going to like travel, and you don't. To be honest, like I said that, and you miss so much in the town when you're gone.
Right.
Because not just is Sacred Heart planning stuff for you, the town has festivals and food trucks and like dancers. Like the town has stuff planned that you don't want to miss, and it takes a
Right.
lot out of you to travel.
But you still got to see a lot of different places. I think that that's like a lot of the appeal too. Like you said, Madrid, Amalfi Coast, Rome, and then you also went to London.
Yeah, because London was included. They also took us to Galway, which is like in the northern part of Ireland, but not like Northern Ireland, because that's not part of Ireland.
It's giving Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, so Galway Girl was on repeat on that bus. For Easter, my family wasn't coming to visit like everybody else's. I was
Right.
like, I'm going to Paris.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. Well, first of all, my family I don't think would have come to visit me in Ireland at all, but I literally would have been in Paris immediately. That is like one place I've always wanted to go. Like when we went to Lourdes back in the day, before my time, they used to go to Paris. They used to take the flight. You take a flight into Paris from JFK because we were from Long Island. So you take the flight into Paris, and then you would spend like the day in Paris, and then you would take like a night bus to Bordeaux, and then you do Bordeaux, and then you do Lourdes. So we literally, the only chance I got to see Paris was I saw the Paris airport. Great. So I saw that. Then we got straight on a bus, and then I saw the Eiffel Tower from like miles and miles away from my little bus window, and I was like,
My boyfriend studied abroad with me. I know, how cliche. Study abroad love story. But he was like, I'll go with you. So I spent Easter in Paris with my boyfriend.
That's so fun though.
So it was very much like, I loved Paris, but it was kind of dirty.
Yeah, it's
Like-
giving New York City
Like
energy.
Emily in Paris like really portrayed it as like this glamorous place. Like, yes, the Eiffel Tower is like amazing.
Right.
It's a lot bigger than you'd expect it to be. And like I saw the Louvre and I did all that typical like Arc de
Did you see the
Triomphe.
Mona Lisa?
No, because we went for Easter and everything was booked because it was a
Easter.
holiday.
Right.
It was like definitely nice going from like a big city and coming home and being able to be like, I don't have to watch my back. Like,
right.
It was
I
definitely
feel like
safe.
anxiety is definitely higher when you're in a city like that, especially Paris. Like, I think that's why they took it out of our trip, was just because like the danger of that, like going into a city like that with a bunch of high schoolers. I guess it's a lot different than college kids. Like, you're kind of on your own. You're probably on your own more than I was. I mean, like, we were like walking the streets of Lourdes by ourselves, but Lourdes, like I said, it's like Disney World. Like, you could run loose there and like no one cares. Like, you're fine. Just watch out for the gypsies, you know?
There was definitely a big difference going from Ireland to a bigger European city and then coming home. But there was just
Right.
like this relief coming home.
Yeah, but that's like nice too, because you still got to like experience all the places. Like, obviously Paris and London are like two of the biggest cities in Europe. They're probably the most popular places to visit in Europe. I know I've heard rumors that Big Ben is really small.
Very small.
Is that true?
Like you like would
smaller
expect.
than the Eiffel Tower?
Oh my God. Like not even, it doesn't even like compare. Like it is smaller than the Empire State Building. Big Ben looked
Big Ben
very,
is
very
more
small.
more like Little Ben.
Yeah, like it was very small from the London Eye. So like I got to see like the typical like
Right. The Louvre, the
the
Eiffel
touristy
Tower,
stuff.
Big Ben.
Went to Buckingham Palace.
Right.
Like
Vatican City. Like,
yeah, like I
you
went
saw
to,
the
like, all-
Colosseum, right?
Yes.
So you got everything.
I got everything.
My outfits would go crazy.
Yeah, like yeah. I had to get a whole new wardrobe because again, like the culture is different there.
The
Like
way I
people-
would be shopping for that trip, the way I would probably spend more money preparing for the trip than I would the trip.
so like for everybody who's sitting there, like I don't know if I can do the semester, but 2 weeks is too short. Do the semester. Because no matter what, you're not gonna come home and be like, man, I wish I didn't go.
Right.
Yes, there's gonna be hard weeks. People get homesickness at Sacred Heart and they only live the next state over
Right.
or a few towns away. Like it happens. But if you like put yourself out there and make those connections and make those friends, it makes it 10 times easier.
Well, you gotta go for
Just
it.
do it.
Just do it. As what's his name? The guy from the Just Do It. What's his name? He's in the Chandelier music video.
Oh.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf says just do it, so you should just do it. Well, thank you, Marissa, for joining me on today's episode about studying abroad. Hopefully, if you're considering studying abroad, or even if you know somebody who studied abroad and you're kind of thinking about it going into college, like look at the programs. It's worth it. If you have like an opportunity to go, you should do it. Take the jump. Ask around.
Reach out to people who have done it. You can reach out to me. I'll talk to you about whatever.
Yeah, hit up Marissa.
Follow me on Instagram.
If you want to, if you want like to ask Marissa questions, you can leave a comment on this podcast and I can send them her way. But thank you, Marissa, and thank you everyone for watching and for tuning in to this episode of My Irrelevant Life. I'll see you guys on the next one. Try not to miss me too much. Bye.